instruments are like magic wands. They can create entire worlds with their music. With the simple wave of a bow, we can enter a forest. Listen and imagine the happy breeze dancing upon the green meadow. Or the birds swooping about the trees. Or perhaps the forest animals at play. Well, today, through the magic of music, words, and of course, your imagination, we'd like to tell you some stories. In fact, one of these stories, or fables, was first told long ago by a man named Aesop. Now, Aesop's fables each have little lessons to teach, also known as morals. So, as you listen to this story, try to figure out what Aesop wanted us to learn. This story is called The Boy Who Cried Wolf, adapted by Nietzsche Sitzer and composed by David Mulliken. In this story, the violin represents the boy. He is very happy and fun-loving, but he has a way of getting into trouble. The clarinet represents the people of the village. They are very serious, and they don't like to have their work interrupted. And finally, the wolf will be portrayed by the cello, along with the percussion. The wolf is just plain scary. So now, I think we're ready for our first fable. The Boy Who Cried Wolf! Once upon a time, there lived a shepherd boy. Every day he'd take his sheep out to the pastures where they'd roam about and nibble on the green grass. So often, one of the sheep would wander off. And so the boy would climb onto his imaginary steed, which was really just a stick, and trot into the countryside, that is, the meadow, until he finally found the lost treasure hoard, the sheep, and guide it back to the flock. And so, time went by, and each day being pretty much the same as before. One day, the little boy sat watching his sheep for the 100th time. He got to thinking, gosh, being a shepherd sure is boring. How long can you sit and watch sheep eat? And besides, they sure do stink. I wish something exciting would happen. Like, what if a wolf came sneaking by, looking for some lunch? Why, then I'd have to get my trusty sword, and that is my stick, and scare that mean old wolf away. He'd be no match for me. On guard! Wait a minute. I know. What if I fooled the villagers into thinking that there really was a wolf? Why, they get so nervous. I can just see them now, running up the hill. That sure would be funny. Hey, why not? Yeah, I'll do it! So the boy climbed up a tree, and with all his might, he cried out, "Wolf! Wolf!" In no time at all, the boy could see the villagers scrambling, looking about for sticks and stones. Soon after, they came running up the hill and out of the meadow. Where is he? Asked one of the villagers. Has the wolf gotten to the sheep? The boy tried not to laugh. Sorry, it wasn't a wolf after all. It was just a crow in the bushes. Whew. The villagers sighed with relief, patted the boy on the back, and returned to the village. Once they were all gone, the boy fell back and laughed. That was great! A crow in the bushes. I can't believe they bought it. Now that's what I call fun. And so, the boy spent the rest of the day giggling away, proud of how he had fooled the entire village. Well, the next day, the boy was leaning against a tree and counting how many times the sheep would chew on one mouthful of grass. 253, 254, 255. Boring. Then he suddenly got an idea. Actually, it was the same idea as the day before. If it worked once, why not work it again? And so he climbed up the tree and cried out, "Wolf! Wolf!" Once again, the villagers frantically ran up the hill and over to the meadow. "Where is he? Where's the wolf?" they cried. Gosh, I thought it was a wolf. But it wasn't. It was just a shadow. Now, the villagers seemed a bit irritated. But to the boy, it was all a game, and he thought it was funny. Well, the next day, the boy was up to his tricks again. Wolf! Wolf! He cried. But this time, only a few villagers came running up the hill. And then, the next day after, he cried, "Wolf!" again. No one came at all. Well, the boy figured that the villagers were on to him, so he decided to give his wolf crying game a rest. Later that day, the boy was lying on his back, looking up and imagining the clouds to be castles. Suddenly, he heard something moving in the brush. He looked around to see what it was, but he didn't see anything. So, he went back to his castles. Then he heard it again. "Who's there?" he called out. But no one answered. Something didn't feel right. Then he saw him, a big gray wolf. His eyes were dark and hungry. At first, the boy couldn't move because he was so scared. But then the wolf stepped towards him, and he quickly climbed up the tree and cried out, "Wolf! Wolf!" But no one came. He cried out again, "Wolf! Wolf!" Nothing. It was as if everyone had gone deaf. The villagers had actually heard the boy, but they had heard him cry wolf before. "That shepherd boy won't fool me again," said one of them. "I'm not running up there for nothing." The others agreed, and they all continued with their work, not knowing that their precious sheep were indeed in danger. Realizing that the villagers weren't coming, the shepherd boy gathered up all his courage and jumped down from the tree. He then quickly found a large branch and began swinging it toward the wolf. The wolf growled angrily at the boy, but the shepherd boy stood his ground. With each swing of the branch, the boy seemed to feel stronger and more brave. "Go find your meal elsewhere, you silly wolf!" the boy cried. "These sheep are in my care, and I won't let anything happen to them, you hear? Go away!" each advance. Finally, the wolf grew tired, howled a long, mournful cry. And disappeared into the bushes. The boy dropped the branch and fell back exhausted. Well, the shepherd boy would never forget that day, for it was then that he had learned many important lessons. Can you think what the shepherd learned that day? Or in other words, what do you think is the moral of the story? What did he learn? Do you know what he learned? No. You do? You want to tell me? What did he learn? It's okay. Do any of the big kids know what he learned? Well, he learned that you shouldn't fake danger, right? You should only call for danger when there is danger. No lying. And that's the story of the boy who cried, "Whoa!"